Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. We have here Jeff on a Jund Shadow list. He actually sold out of Blue Duels recently to pick up some high-end cards for other strategies. And we see here that he is still going to be able to play Death Shadow, but this time in Jund. So, of course, black. Red a natural fit, and green gives some very interesting options. I've actually considered splashing it in the black-blue build myself. We'll see which cards he takes advantage of. Sylvan Library comes to mind as a very solid green card in that type of build. It'll let you trade off some life for some cards very rapidly. Probably beats Miracles all by itself. And here we also see Night's Whisper. So Jeff, going to have a lot of card advantage in card drawing despite not playing blue in the form of Night's Whisper as well. So his life total pushed down very rapidly, and Stoneforge Mystic coming down. And we'll see if this ends up being a Batterskull or a Shuko. And it is Batterskull. So for those who have not watched the stream before, or the channel before, I've been on Cephalid Breakfast, and I have been on a holy quest to win a tournament with it. Started out this tournament with the bye, so we'll see if it is possible to be the last man standing. Thoughtseize from Jund Shadow. And looks like going to the tank. Perhaps considering Force of Willing. And Force of Will is going to happen. Bolt takes out that Stoneforge Mystic. Wasteland leaves me with just a Tundra. So Death Shadow playing some significant resource denial here. Mother of Runes coming down. And Nomad in core. Perhaps setting up a turn 2 win. Or a next turn win. And there's Abrupt Decay, another card that would be very much of interest once you combine black and green. That color combination unlocks some really spicy cards, and Abrupt Decay is at the top of that list, I believe, as an uncounterable answer to some of the format's best threats. Of course, Mother of Runes is a trump to that. So Nomads and Core taken out, and another one comes down to replace it. Wasteland gets rid of Cavern of Souls, and we are chipping away 1 damage at a time here. Playing right into Jund Shadow's plan of lowering their life total. And there's a Thoughtseize. And we see the Batterskull, a Limduel's Vault, a very dangerous card here, and a Zami. No black mana for Limduels. Azami, basically a blank. That's a 5-mana spell. Batterskull would certainly be cast prior to that. And Tarmogoyf coming down. Very complementary threat along the lines of Death Shadow. A lot of builds are running Gurmag Angler, so it'll be interesting to see from a deck building perspective what Jeff decides to do. And Liliana of the Veil. That is pretty brutal. He is going to mop up this combo pretty rapidly if we can't find a Cephalid soon. Ponder. The question is keeping Brainstorm there or not. Without a shuffle effect, that is going to have to go away. Really just need to maximize the number of cards seen here. There's a fetch land. It will make future brainstorms better. Right now, this is a huge problem. Lightning Bolt in Jund Shadow just firing on all cylinders, clearing the board. Going to be able to attack the hand, keeping a clock with Tarmogoyf. This is looking fantastic for Jeff. And a Death Shadow on top of it. Now, Brainstorm is in hand, and it is a 2-card combo. Stoneforge Mystic. And this is just academic at this point. Essentially going to make Jeff kill his own Lily to make sure he can break on through. Just the play there, and that should be lethal. And there's the Cephalid. So lethal just in time. Exact damage there from Jeff, I believe. And that Cephalid was about to come off the top. That would have been absolutely stunning comeback. But Jeff pushing his life total down quick enough for that Death Shadow to actually be lethal. And that was largely thanks to Knight's Whisper. Very interesting card. Let me know what you think about that addition in the comments. Is it too slow, too cute, or is it exactly the type of thing that this type of unconventional Death Shadow deck needs to win? See there, really, I would say one of the stronger arguments for embracing Legacy is this build. I don't think anybody would come out and say that this is the best possible Death Shadow deck. There'll typically always be like a best version or something approximating that. But the bottom line is, even these kind of different builds, they will not be strictly worse. They will have trade-offs, and sometimes you'll find them, kind of better positioned in matchups because of those trade-offs. And even in spite of that, the overall power level is so high that they can still find a way to win matches and sometimes tournaments. And to be honest, Cephalid Breakfast is kind of in that category as well. I've had a lot of fun playing it. It's been fun to see the response from everybody. People seem to have really enjoyed seeing this unconventional deck. And that is the goal here, is to try and find a way to win a tournament with it. We'll see if it's possible here. Already on the right track, but down a game and going to need to go undefeated in these weeklies. Taking a loss will spell the end. Jeff is up a game. Looking like multiple Cephalids and Shuko, so this could be a fast one. See if this is a basic island or not. It is. All right. So as long as there's another land, this could just be a quick turn to win. Oh, and no land. Belief in the heart of the cards did not pay off here. Was really just hoping, oh, an Abrupt Decay to get rid of the Shuko. Punished supremely. The land shows up a turn too late. Oh, daggers. Really just went for it there and did not pay off. And now Liliana, the last hope. Oh, she is just brutal. That is not where you want to be versus when you're playing a deck full of 1/1s. Liliana, the last hope, is just like Jason Voorhees at a kid's birthday party. This is just horrific. Just going to mutilate everything I put down. And we'll see how long this can last. This is just a nightmare. Ugh. Limdul's Vault. Well, that's actually a really good card here. This could possibly find the Cephalid and the Enabler in the same 5. So this is a very significant swing. So I believe there's a Cephalid that we've already seen and passed on. Brainstorm going to the top. Very interesting here. Now Lily, the trade-off here between the Lilianas is at least she doesn't destroy things when you don't have a board. So the other Liliana, Liliana of the Veil, once you don't have any more creatures, she just starts making everybody discard. This Liliana just moves toward her ultimate, which does eventually become a win condition. So that, you know, it's all trade-offs here in between these lilies. And Cephalid and Nomad, the combo assembled, and he's got the fatal push. And now that poor Cephalid about to get murdered. Leyline of the Void coming down before the targeting, so that actually gets rid of that Narcomoeba. Aether Vial, that could, I mean, there's not a lot that can do. Thoughtseize showing just Spell Piercing, Cabal Therapy. Leyline eliminating the graveyard. Lily really just in charge of the yard here. Anything entering the battlefield is going to have to do its job very quickly because passing the turn is going to be bad for its health. I guess hoping for Batterskull. And there's the 1/1 Death Shadow. Getting back Street Wraith. That's going to be able to pump that Death Shadow up to a 3/3. And a Braid taking out that Aether Vial. Going to eliminate a lot of the trickiness that can happen. And is that? Oh, that is it's, can't remember. You search your library for a creature essentially. Let me know in the comments. It's going pretty deep. But Swords to Plowshares gets the 2-for-1. And that's going to buy a lot of time. Wow. So Sword's a tremendous draw here for Cephalid Breakfast. That is what it does in games that are sideboarded. It brings in a bunch of Swords to Plowshares and becomes a bit more of a reasonable Stoneforge deck. That card has Morbid, or not Morbid, Delirium, the one that checks the number of card types in the graveyard, and essentially ends up being a creature tutor. Yeah, just let me know in the comments what the name of that is. Sorry about that, guys. And Goyf finds another sword. So back-to-back swords, pretty good draws here. And Street Wraith is a 3/3 unblockable here. There's a couple of Underground Seas there that give him free passage straight to my face. Ponder says okay. And there's a Stoneforge. So Batterskull could possibly... This is not the worst. I mean, it's pretty bad, but this is not the worst. Cabal Therapy. Complete Whiff. And there's a Lightning Bolt, Wasteland. Gonna be able to just hardcast Batterskull next turn. So this is a very interesting situation. Cabal Therapy should be exiled. Street Wraith will hopefully that doesn't come into play. There's the Batterskull. This is actually favoring Cephalid Breakfast with this current board state. Liliana getting back Death Shadow, sacrificing herself, and then another Liliana being played. All right, so that line didn't make a lot of sense for a second. Oh, and actually Liliana's going to kind of groom that Germ token, only be able to do 2 damage at a time. So Liliana the Veil, Liliana of the Dark Realms needs some type of defender here. Jeff all the way at 18. So Death Shadow not going to be able to come to her aid. Wasteland on Cavern. She's going to be able to stick around for one more turn. The brutal thing here about Batterskull is the recursion. This has turned into an extremely grindy game, which did not seem possible. But in terms of the grindiness, Batterskull can get picked up and put back down. So, you know, it feels like the right play here would be to take the 2-for-1 or, you know, block with Street Wraith. Actually, blocking with Street Wraith seems fine here. Yeah, because it's only dealing 2 damage. So, see here, Jeff may not have assessed this entire situation accurately. There we go. That's a better way to stack the graveyard. For anybody that doesn't play in tournaments, once Leyline of the Void comes in, I would advocate stacking the graveyard like that. Putting the Exile Zone on top of it tapped. As long as your opponent's good with that, it's very easy to accidentally put a card like we saw with that Cabal Therapy into the graveyard. No shortage of lands here. And okay, now we're back to that previous point. There is a Lingering Souls. Oh, and that Germ token does actually die, because it gets -1 as well. So, it's a terrible attack. Spirit token down. If this Spirit token picks up Batterskull, this is going to be quite bad. It's happening. 5 damage in the air. This is now a disaster for Jund Shadow. Got a 5/5 lifelink vigilance spirit token outside of range of lightning bolt, outside of additional Liliana of the Dark Realms. I don't know if he runs of the last. I'm sorry, the Dark Realms versus Last Hope. I don't know what his split is post board. And swinging. And this game looked completely unwinnable, and it's just 2 turns away unless Jeff can find something. Thoughtseize. Brainstorm going to be able to protect some things. Looks like Cephalid Illusionist might stick around. Really just want to put the best thing on top of the library at this point. Got Illusionist, Ponder, Dread Return. Dread Return is a brick. Ponder is taken. Now this build, I did get slightly more serious here. We are on the Labman build. So for those of you who really liked the Mimeoplasm, Murderous Redcap, Lord of Extinction build, my apologies, but really am legitimately trying to win a tournament here with Cephalid Breakfast, and I do feel that the Labman build is better, particularly because of cards like Leyline of the Void. So with Labman, I could still get Laboratory Maniac into my hand, get him into the battlefield, and then assemble the combo, and then that would still work. So here now, Labman ends up being a win if I can get him. So Limb Duel's Vault or drawing him naturally will just end the game. But it looks like the Batter Skull will probably make that happen first. There we go. So looked completely unwinnable for a while there, but Lingering Souls, able to make too many bodies, and that evasion ended up being absolutely crucial. Batter Skull pulling a ton of weight. All right, the dream is still alive here. As I said, taking a loss will crush the dream. Looks like Aether Vials being considered for some other sideboard cards here. Jund's Shadow doesn't really have much in the way of... I mean, I guess it does have Mana Denial. I'm going to cut that thought kind of halfway off there. Because of Mana Denial, it is a little questionable about cutting off the Aether Vials. They can go after your mana base with Wasteland. Can't find yourself mana screwed, and a hand that has Aether Vial could allow you to play through that, even with no lands. But he does have an awful lot of artifact destruction. We saw Abrupt Decay. We saw a Braid. There's Grafdigger's Cage there from Jeff. So very much treating it like a graveyard deck, which is not totally incorrect. But it is something that can be completely played around. So the Grafdigger's Cage will stop the Narcomoebas and the Dread Return. So this does become a game of, if you're going to combo, you're going to need to find Lab Man and get him into the battlefield. Preferably with the Brainstorm in hand to be able to win with. An interesting question of whether or not to Brainstorm immediately or to pass the turn. If they do have a single piece of removal, then passing is better. I guess you pretty much always just pass, because even if they draw one piece of removal, you could respond with the Brainstorm. Well, there's a Lightning Bolt that gets Spell Pierce, Nomad, and Core sticking around. Another Lightning Bolt, so Jeff way down on cards now. Brainstorm, finding Narcomoeba, Mother of Runes, all sorts of ragtag 1/1s, some of them for the low cost of 2 mana. All right, little technical issue with the life totals there. Going to pause the timer to resolve it, and we are back marching towards what may end up being a draw here. See if Cephalid Breakfast can pull this out quick enough. Batter Skull from Stoneforge may not be fast enough. We'll see. Oh, there's Shuko. And Lightning Bolt taking it out. Cephalid, Illusionist in hand with Shuko, can combo at any time. Really just a question of getting down that Laboratory Maniac. Jeff, not a lot of cards in hand here, but he did reload a little bit with Night's Whisper. Gun Shadow deck, I don't think we've seen it Hellbent yet. It does seem to be able to reload pretty frequently. Mother of Runes and Narcomoeba coming down. And Liliana, the Last Hope, killing Mother of Runes. And this is right back to a bad spot. It looked pretty decent for a bit there, but she really flips the script. I mean, what an absolute murder machine. Shuko, onto Narco. Gonna go after Lily here. Given the small amount of time left in the round, do not want to go at Jeff's face. That could just enable a Death Shadow to steal a victory here. And at this point, this is going to be time in the round and going to need to survive for the 5 additional turns. Ball Therapy could play a little bit of a defensive role here. Really is just about survival here. Go to 1-1, and winning out would still be good enough to take down the event. There's a Mishra's Bauble, again showing that this Jund list has quite a bit of card drawing, despite not being blue. Basic swamp fetched, even against a non-red deck going below 3, might just be a bit of a psychological barrier. Hard cast Street Wraith, and that is not going to do it. Fetching. Red Return not going to be able to bring back the Cephalid because of the Grafdigger's Cage. And there's a Swords to Plowshares. Hands revealed, and that is a draw. That was almost certain defeat, and keeping the dream alive. Going to try and actually take down a tournament here. We'll see how that goes in the next 2 rounds. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.